You may have noticed that I haven't been posting much recently, and that's because I've been very sick. In this video, I'm going to share what I've been going through, but more importantly, I'm going to share the source of hope that has carried me through this challenging time. This key, when applied to your own life, can help you find strength and avoid despair during your darkest moments as well. The sickness that I've been going through these last few weeks have been the worst that I've experienced since going through cancer many years ago. It was an extreme fatigue that had me sleeping about 14 to 16 hours a day and a brain fog during most of my waking hours. I wouldn't be able to be up for more than 4 hours at a time without needing another nap, and I felt incapable of being productive. See, I'm an extremely productive person, so this was really hard on me. I made my wife practically a single parent, as I was always in bed and didn't have energy to do almost anything. I was feeling really low and was ready to accept a bedridden life until my next doctor's appointment. But during this time, there were also fires that were sweeping the Los Angeles area. See, my feed was flooded with people on TikTok who are documenting their suffering. Video after video of people returning to their homes, which were burnt to the ground, and then mourning over their lost memories and keepsakes, not to mention their home and their community.
It's just gone. Everything is just gone.
One family in particular really gripped me. It was a Christian family with a dad who's an ordained pastor, his wife, and 2 kids. Now, first, his dad had lost his job on January 7th, so that's hard enough. But then the very next day, their house burned down in the Los Angeles fires. So on January 8th, the next day, he has no home for his kids, their school burned down, and he also has no source of income to care for their immediate needs nor to start the rebuilding process. This is what they said. "We wept over the unrecognizable remains of the bookshelf that held Tamer's novels, Mike's Bible commentaries, and the special journal they'd shared in their early dating days. We grieve for the irreplaceable family photos and handwritten notes. The winds had come and they'd swept away the Mekredijian's income, their school, and their every earthly possession." It was stories like that that kept me grounded during my own suffering. See, my suffering was so small compared to theirs. I still had income coming in, I was sleeping in a warm bed, and we still had our own home. Contrasting my situation with others kept me from falling into despair. See, there's a sin that's easy to fall into, and it's called coveting. It's the 10th commandment, and it's a failure to be content with what you have, and instead you're coveting what your neighbor has. We can do that with their possessions, but we can also do that with their station in life. We can covet their success, their income, or even their health. When you contrast yourself with those who are better off than you, you stir up covetousness and become discontent, which can lead to all kinds of bad fruit, like bitterness. But when you contrast yourself with those who are worse off than you stir up gratitude and thankfulness. You realize that the cross that you're bearing is not as large as others. Back in 2017, I went through a more serious health episode where I got blood clots in my lungs, I had cancer, and I lost the use of my legs for a time. I received chemotherapy treatment, I spent a long time bedridden, and had to relearn how to walk through much pain. I remember one time when I was in my wheelchair and my wife was wheeling me around the cancer wing of the hospital, and we met another husband and wife couple who were in the same situation as us. Her husband also had cancer and he was being pushed around by his wife. They were Christians too, but we at the time only had 4 children with 1 on the way, and they had 9 children, mostly who were very young. But I learned through their story that he was not expected to live much longer. See, that difference hit me very hard. To the eye, we looked like we were in the same situation, but I was on my way to making a full recovery where he was suffering and preparing for death. I thought about how he would not get to see his 9 kids grow up, how he'd never get to walk his daughters down the aisle, how we'd never get to walk his daughters down the aisle. How his kids would have the hardship of not growing up with a father. Thought about in that contrast, who am I to complain? He has it so much harder than me. See, there's a popular Bible passage, and it comes in Philippians 4. And this is what Paul says. He says, I know how to be brought low, and I know how to abound. In any and every circumstance, I've learned the secret of facing plenty and hunger, abundance and need. I can do all things through him who strengthens me. Now, when Paul wrote this, he was in prison for his Christian faith, and he says he learned how to be content in every situation, including when you're really hungry, when you're starving and in great need. He learned that he can be content in any and every situation through Christ who strengthens him. Suffering well doesn't come easy, but there are many truths that are in the Bible, such as God's character and attributes, as well as understanding his plan for evil and the hope of a renewed heavens and earth, which can help us to suffer well. And that's what I want for you. So if you like to learn how to help yourself more through a hard season that maybe you're going through, or to prepare for when the unfortunate reality when suffering does come, I want to recommend resources to you. There's this great book by Randy Alcorn called If God is Good, Faith in the Midst of Suffering and Evil. Now this book is quite comprehensive and it's at 530 pages, so that seems more than you can handle at this time. He also has an abridged version called The Goodness of God, Assurance of Purpose in the Midst of Suffering, which is just 128 pages. I know you'll find help in one of those books, so I put links to them in the video description. Also, if you're watching this video close to when I recorded it and you want to help that family in need, they do have a GoFundMe and I've put a link to it in the video description as well. Thanks so much for watching.